YouTube and people of the interwebs, welcome back to another Doctor Who news video. So, we've got quite a lot of big stuff that's happened in the past couple of days. Most importantly, and the main topic of the video, which will be discussed in a bit, is the fact that we are getting another anniversary Doctor Who piece of media. We don't really know what it is yet, but we know that another sort of episode, possibly mini episode, I think it was shot over a week. They spent in studios filming this episode. But yeah, we'll get to that later and run you through the headlines because there are quite a lot of Doctor Who news things happening. First up, this month's Doctor Who magazine came out and might I say it's very, very good. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I'd recommend going out and buying it. There's a bunch of interviews about the 60th anniversary, which are very interesting. And that's where we get the letter from the showrunner, so Russell's little article column thing. It's very interesting. Secondly, the Doctor Who concert that happened, I think, at the start or end of last month. That's been posted online, and we now officially have the new theme tune. There's a little clip of it, not too much, because I don't want to be strucken by the Doctor Who copyright gods. Speaking of Doctor Who copyright, we'll talk about that in a minute, because there's some dramatic news. We also got the 15th Doctor's theme. And that chorus is so good. There's never really been a bad, Doctor's theme of New Who. That they're all bangers, and 15's theme completely in keeps with that tradition. We also got Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday's theme. Murray Gold talked about Ruby being like a lost soul searching for her parents. It's not a major leak, it's not a major spoiler. I presume that'll be in a plot synopsis of an episode, it's just something cool. But yeah, onto the copyright issues. This man has gone a little bit mental. Now, who on earth is he, you may be asking? Well, this guy is the descendant of someone who worked on the original Doctor Who serial, An Unearthly Child, or, I mean, they're calling it the Tribe of Gum, but I've never heard anyone call it that. To cut a long story short, this guy has put in, this copyright claim thing, the way the BBC used to work back then, people's intellectual property, I don't really fully understand. But basically, he is refusing to allow the BBC to put An Unearthly Child or the first other 3 stories, which nobody really cares about, on to BBC iPlayer. An Unearthly Child has already apparently been taken down from a bunch of streaming services, which is kind of mental, and the BBC aren't going to be allowed to distribute it. So yeah, there is this sort of panic. It's kind of reminding me of COVID times when everyone rushed out to buy toilet roll. People are rushing out to buy An Unearthly Child on DVD because there is the possibility the BBC are not going to be allowed to produce that story. Furthering the mentalness of this, he is trying to copyright TARDIS, which, if he manages that, I don't think he will, because he's been trying since 2013, but if he does manage that who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, that's all of that sort of news out of the way. Let's take a look at this secret Doctor Who 60th anniversary episode, which is coming to our screens very, very soon. Speaking in his regular letter from the showrunner column in issue 596 of the magazine, Russell reveals that as well as 3 anniversary episodes starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate, and various other celebrations which have been 18 months in the making, Russell says you're also getting extra things that sprang into being, yesterday. So yeah, a new Doctor Who project that's very, very recent. I believe it was set to be in July. Well, I think that's when the idea was birthed, and then I think they filmed it in September. Something else is coming for the 60th anniversary. This article continues. Okay, it was July this year, but as the summer began, I was thinking about the 60th and wondered, have we done enough? So I had an idea on July 5th, sent a formal proposal to the team on July 20th, then 3 scriptwriters got to work, and now, just 2 months later, in the second half of September, we're about to embark on a 6-day studio shoot of brand new material that will make you fizz, I promise. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so first thing, Russell felt people might be slightly underwhelmed by the 60th. Now, I don't think he just means the 60th specials, but what I do think is interesting is July is the sort of point where a lot of theories began popping up, including myself. I made a video which got quite a lot of views Thanks, guys. About the 60th possibly being a multi-doctor story. And in my head, I can't help but think, if everyone was thinking the 60th is going to be a multi-doctor story at that point, and now it's almost confirmed the 60th is not a multi-doctor story, does that mean Russell has gone and written a little mini multi-doctor story sort of thing, similar to how we had Time Crash back in 2007, just to sort of appease and to give the fans that multi-doctor crossover that they were looking for? I mean, that line of thinking does make quite a lot of sense, because if a lot of people are talking about multi-doctor stuff, maybe a certain portion of the fandom would feel underwhelmed by only getting the David Tennant Doctor. I mean, I still theorise that 14 and 15, so Ncuti and Tennant, are going to meet in the 60th, but I think, yeah, maybe people wanted old Doctors. Maybe Russell's done something along those lines. So then my mind immediately gets thinking, what sort of mini episode could you do with returning Doctors? Maybe it's not even returning Doctors, maybe it's returning companions, but if it is Doctors, I think it could be something like Guardians of the Edge-esque, in that maybe the 14th Doctor, having freshly regenerated into this face, as we hear in the 60th, he doesn't understand why he's got that face. Maybe he goes to, like, the Guardians of the Edge and is kind of like, do you guys know what's going on with this face? Maybe he meets the Curator and it's like an older version of maybe Matt Smith or something like that. Some nice, clever little prologue to the 60th with multi-doctor stuff to get us really invested. Now, obviously, there's no confirmation it's multi-doctor at all, but what it could be, if not multi-doctor, is multi-showrunner, because Russell talks about 3 scriptwriters getting to work. At the Doctor Who musical celebration, which is where this photo comes from, we've seen Chris, Stephen, and Russell all together happily enjoying vibes in Cardiff. So who's to say that maybe those guys were in Cardiff for a little bit longer than just the concert, writing and working on this episode? How better to celebrate the 60th than by having the 3 new Who showrunners come together to write a fantastic story? Now, once again, this is all speculation. It could be completely different to what I'm saying. We don't even know if it's like a canon thing. Maybe it's something ridiculous like Dimensions in Time. Maybe it's something completely different that none of us are thinking about. Let me know what you think in the comments. So in the letter from the showrunner, Russell specified to look out for these dates: November 1st, November 17th, and November 23rd. He also confirmed that none of these dates are when the 60th will actually air, which is very, very interesting. So yeah, it's officially confirmed now, the 23rd, which is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, will not have either the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, or the Giggle airing on that day, but it will have something else. Now, one of these dates also perfectly lines up with Children in Need, which last year's Children in Need, we had Millie Gibson announced as companion. There has been like a tradition of like Doctor Who mini episodes on Children in Need, which is where Time Crash originally came from. Maybe on the 17th, on Children in Need, we are going to get part 1 of this multi-doctor story. Maybe if the 60th anniversary specials are airing weekly, they'll start on like the 11th, then the 7th, then whatever a week after that is, and then the 25th, and in between, maybe you get little Doctor Who-y side bits. I don't know. It's very, very interesting, and I'm very intrigued to see what you guys think. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be brilliant, because Russell really knows what he's doing. But I think, yeah, it's getting right back into the public consciousness again, which is fantastic. But yeah, that does bring us to the end of today's video. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.